and boo and raise a hullabaloo at the ball game today.
Hey everybody, it's me, Rick Acosta, the Dodger Card Collector, coming to you with another video. Today is Friday, March 14th. It's a very cold and windy March 14th, and it's raining. Southern California has been getting some much needed rain, and I know throughout the country right now there's a lot of late winter storms hitting, so everyone out there stay safe, try to stay warm. Spring is around the corner, baseball's around the corner. The weather will get better soon for all of us, hopefully. So I think I'll just cut to the chase. I'm like, what am I doing this weekend, card-wise, hobby-wise? I might hit up some of my LCSs probably tomorrow, Saturday. I definitely want to hit Burbank one last time, the Burbank store, before they move to their new location, which I still don't know when it is, but I don't get up there very often. So I thought I'd hit up there one more time, see if I can find some cards that I'm looking for. Might head over to the Arcadia Cards show, which I have a feeling I'm going to be there all of 10 minutes because I have a feeling it's going to be a bunch of modern stuff in Pokemon, but it gives me a chance to go to my hometown and check out what's going on. And also, it makes my drive home from Burbank a lot easier, as the drive home from Burbank could be a pain in the butt. And it only gets worse when baseball season starts because the Burbank store is near Dodger Stadium. So might as well try to get there one more time before baseball season starts is my attitude. Today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit of a subject that I introduced a few weeks ago. And that's the path when you're collecting. I wanted to bring that up again, just because you never know where your path in collecting will take you. Take in case the cards that I'm going to show you today in just a few minutes, and just where I am at currently in my collecting. A lot of you guys who follow me know that I'm currently working on 1961 Topps, the high numbers, and 1950 Bowman. And I would say for a couple of years, at least a couple of years, I've been saying, I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. What does that mean? I'm almost done. It's like a friend of mine used to say to me, he goes, what, are you going to stop collecting? But I always say I'm almost done. And in this case, I always feel like I am almost done. But in what I'm going to show you today, I could say I'm almost done, but you still have these. And when I say almost done, okay, so I'm working on 1950, 1961, but I still have these projects that I've been sharing with you, such as my 1971-72 Lakers team set, or, I'm working on some LA Kings team sets. I'm still working on some LA Rams Bowman sets. So there are always little things that are happening, but when you think, you know what, after I finish this next set, I'm done. I'm never buying another baseball card again. That could be true. In my case, though, and like I said, when you see my latest pickups, you start realizing that a new path is already starting, just as an old path could be ending. So sometimes it leads me to believe, I've heard people say, what is the end game here? When are you going to finish? Or for me, saying I'm almost done. And it comes to the point as I'm getting older, and I'm seeing that some of my card collecting friends here, some of them are older, some of them are younger. But like the other day, I thought, gosh, maybe my path ends, or maybe it ends for me just when I'm no longer here. And that might be a good thing. That might be a bad thing. If I could collect till the end, that would be fun. And I hope not to leave my family a big mess. So everything would have to be organized. And I'm pretty organized when it comes to the sorting and physically having everything. I still need to work on, if something should happen to me, here's what you do with the graded cards. Here's what you do with the binder sets. Here's what you do with the commons, or some of my Dodger card commons, because frankly, I do have a lot of 21st century Dodger team sets. You know, you pick out a handful of, you take out some Kershaw rookies out of there and all that, and you're stuck with just a bunch of commons that aren't worth that much. But you have to figure out where your path ends or where it goes. And that's kind of the beauty of card collecting, just because a few years ago, I said once I finished the 1951 through 1980 Topps Dodger team sets, I was done. Then all of a sudden I added Bowman, then I added Play Ball, then I added Gowdy. You just keep going. Now at some point I doubt this will ever be my case, but in some ways, you might try to get every vintage card ever made, and I think that's going to be impossible. But at some point, you just draw to a point. Like I've realized, like there's one set, and actually, did I save a card to show you? I did. I'm looking down at my cards. I picked out one set to work on when I'm a very old man. I actually have done that. But I just want to talk to you about the path, just because you never know where the path is going to lead you. Just when you think it's done, oh, maybe something new is rekindled, and all of a sudden you're going, okay, I have time to work on this. So that's kind of the beauty of card collecting. But if I made any sense, that's great. If I didn't, just fast forward, just hit pause and move forward to the cards. So what I'm going to do as I look down at what cards, I have several pickups from the last the last month. And it just shows you where my card collecting is going these days, because sometimes it doesn't stay in a straight line, or sometimes, like I say, you realize one path is coming to an end, but new paths are opening up. So enough ramble. Let's take a look at some baseball cards. All right, so I find it ironic that I just said, let's look at some baseball cards, and I'm going to show you instead some football cards at first. So here's a few cards that I wanted to show you, and on the left you have the 1949 Leaf Bob Waterfield, the 1950 Bowman Glenn Army Davis, along with the 1950 Bowman Jack Zille. Now you guys know I've been working on getting these Rams cards, specifically 1950 Bowman, along with 1951 Bowman. So I'll start with the 50 Bowman. Glenn Army Davis. My memory of Glenn Army Davis is that I went to college in the same town that he grew up in, Laverne. So Laverne, California. So they tend to talk about, when I went to school at the University of Laverne, they seem to talk a lot about Glenn Army Davis when he went to high school and what he did there. And he went on to have a great career in college, and a good career in the NFL. Ended up on the Rams. But my memories of him will always be my college era, where, like I say, the athletic department had a tendency of bringing up Glenn Davis. Now on the right is a Jack Zille card. And the thing I love with the 1950 Bowman football is the same thing with the 1950 Bowman baseball, is just how nice those backgrounds are. This is the exact same design as baseball. Let's be honest. They're just great. Look at the background on that card. Blue sky, green field. Zille's caught the ball. He's going to catch the ball and take off around in and hopefully run for a touchdown for the Rams. We don't know for sure. Now, the last card I wanted to bring up is on the left, and that's the Bob Waterfield card from 1949 Leaf. When I decided to put together my Rams, I wanted to put together Rams from 1950 and 1951. I eventually decided to add 1949, which only had two cards, Bob Waterfield and Kenny Washington. I didn't realize that there was 1948 Leaf as well. And 1948 Leaf and 1949 are the same design. So the image that you're seeing right now for Bob Waterfield is the same image that was used in 1948. There are some differences in regards to 1948 and 1949 for those of you guys that are thinking of buying these cards. In 1948, the cards were printed on semi-glossy white stock, while in 1949, the cards were printed on cheaper, grayer stock. And this made the colors dull or kind of drabby compared to 1948. So I did look at some 1948 cards, specifically the Waterfield, and yeah, the 48 just illuminates a little bit more than the 49 does, but the 49s are a lot cheaper than the 48 as well. This is considered Waterfield's second year card, while the 1948 Leaf will be considered his rookie card. Another difference between 1948 and 1949 is the lettering on Bob Waterfield. In 1949, the letters were black, while in 1948 you had black lettering, but you also had variations with white lettering. And for those of you guys that are building sets out there, in 1948, like I said, exact same design, exact same pictures were used in 1949, but in 1948, the set is larger because they featured college football stars of that era, where in 1949, the cards are exclusively NFL players. So those cards, 50 Bowman, I think I need to get 4 more cards. 49 Leaf, I still need to get the Kenny Washington card. Not a cheap card, as that's... the 48 card is very expensive. 49, I'll have to look it up. They're not easy to find, but obviously when I get one, I'll show it to you guys. All right, now we're going to look at some baseball cards. One of my favorite aspects of card collecting has been learning about new cards that I've never seen or never heard of. And here's for me, an example. It literally just happened last week. And the card, that's going to be the card on the right. The card in the center, I learned about a few years ago. Now, the card on the left is one that if you're a vintage card collector, you're very familiar with the 1964 Topps Giants set. In this case, I'm showing the Frank Robinson card. It's a 60 card set that came out obviously in 1964. But in the 70s and up to the early 80s, these cards were still readily available at Dodger Stadium. I know I bought a pack. I cannot tell you how many cards came in a pack. All I can tell you is one night at a Dodgers Expos game, Montreal Expos game, I came home with 20 cards. Don't have them anymore, but this Frank Robinson is one of the examples. I always tell people who come, if they ask me, what vintage, I want to get into vintage, what set should I start with? I point them to the 1964 Topps Giants set. It's only 60 cards. There's 15 or 16 Hall of Famers. A lot of the other players are well known. It's a nice way to dip your toes into vintage and not spend too much money, though I have noticed these cards have become a lot more expensive in the last couple of years. I bought my set pretty cheap. I built my set pretty cheap, I should say. And it's still a set that's one of my favorites. And it's so much a favorite of mine that a few years ago, I don't know what I was doing, but I found out that in 2011, where you see this Derek Jeter card picture here, this is the 2011 Topps Lineage set. Topps Lineage features 20 cards with the exact same design as 1964. With in its day, they're the famous modern players, guys like Adrian Gonzalez and Derek Jeter, Giancarlo Stanton. It's a Joe Mauer, Albert Pujols. It's a really nice 20 card set, and I decided, wow, I want to get those. So I bought I found the 20 cards. Again, very easy to build. I think I didn't spend more than $8 or $10 on one card. A lot of cards I bought for like $1. It's just a nice set to have. So I already had my 1964 Topps Giants cards in binders. So in a binder, so I went and bought 5 more sheets and added this Derek Jeter and the rest of the 2011 Topps Lineage cards. Now the card on the right, this is something I just found out in the last week or two. I have on eBay a search for 2020 Topps Heritage Clayton Kershaw. I leave that subject very broad just because just having 2020 Topps Heritage Clayton Kershaw will send a lot of cards into my search engine when I'm doing it. So the other day, literally, like I said, the other day, 2020, a few new ones popped up. The card that I'm actually looking for is the 2020 Topps Heritage with Kershaw wearing a Brooklyn Dodgers cap. It's the only Topps Heritage card I still need to like finish the base run and the alternate cards. It's a very hard kind of card to find, and when you do find it, it's $400 or $500. So I just always leave the search open. And in this case, this card popped up, and this is 2020 Topps Archive oversized 1964 Topps Giant. And I go, oh my God. So I finally found the set in TCDB, looked it up, saw that there's current players, but they've also made cards of Jackie Robinson and Deion Sanders, Thurman Munson. And again, same design. 2020 features one difference you'll see here is this is an action shot. So far I have 4 cards. I've got the Clayton Kershaw and the Gavin Lux. Those are both in action. I have a Nolan Arenado that it's either in action or it's him swinging in the on-deck circle at Coors Field. And then I have the Jackie Robinson. They made a Jackie Robinson of this set. So I have those 4, and there are 30 of them. And it's just something that I thought I would, again, you never know where things are going to take you. And I thought, let's work on this set just because I liked the originals so much. And if you notice, the backs are the same. The backs are the same. Of course, in 1964, they just numbered the cards. In 2011, they did number them. They did TG 1 through 30. But the new cards in 2020, what they do is all the cards are numbered 640, then a dash, then the player's initials. So in this case, you're going to see card number 640 CK. And like I say, there's 30 of them. I have 4 of them now. There's a couple I've seen on eBay on my want list. I plan on working and getting all 30. I've already bought sheets so they can all go in the same binder together. And let's see where this goes. But these are really nice cards to have. I showed them to a buddy of mine, and he was like, "Oh, I love that. The whole old card, or old design, newer cards." And it's neat to see that Topps did this again in 2020. All right, what else do we got here? All right, so my next card, there was supposed to be 2 cards here, but we're only going to show 1. And that is the 1969 Topps Mel Stottlemyre. And I had bought this card, and in a separate transaction, I bought the same 1969 Topps Mel Stottlemyre with the last name in white letters. You guys know I've been making a 1969, what I call a sampler set, which features 20% of the set. It's 132 cards. Would have literally a lot of the bigger names, larger names, and Dodger team set, all-star cards. But one thing I wanted an example of was one card in white lettering. And I picked Mel Stottlemyre just because I didn't want to break the bank and have to do it with Mickey Mantle or William McCovey or Gaylord Perry. And unfortunately, I bought the card, and the card never arrived on eBay. And I had to reach out to the seller yesterday saying the card's been stuck in North Carolina for over 2 weeks. And he gave me a refund right away and made mention that he's been having issues USPS-wise out where he lives, so he refunded the money right away. And so I'm on the lookout for a 1969 Topps Mel Stottlemyre with white letters. Now, one of the revelations I've had recently is, I've said this in the past, and I have not really always been a big fan of 1969, but in building the sampler set, I gained new appreciation for the set, especially the images from the high number set, which by the time you get to the last series, and I believe the second to last series, Topps finally began taking photographs, current photographs baseball players, just because the players union and Topps were in some type of negotiation stalemate. So when you look at a lot of cards from 68, 69, they're using the same images or images from the same photo shoot. You know, you look at someone like Brooks Robinson, 1969 card. He's wearing an Orioles uniform that they hadn't worn in 3 or 4 years. So wasn't a big fan of it. But because of the way my silly mind thinks, I have all the Topps sets from 1970 to 1984. And I also have a 1968 Topps set. So that leaves like a little bit of a gap in 1969. And I go, maybe someday I'll just work on the 69 set just to say I have every Topps set from 68 to 84. Now, the one card besides the Stottlemyre that I'm looking to buy this year would be the 1969 Topps Mickey Mantle card, his last card. I've got a couple of bids out right now. I don't think I'll win, but you never know. You know, looking for 1 in a 3 or a 4. And if I were to buy the Mantle, that would finish what like I said, called my sampler set. And for me, at least, it would mean that I have what I consider the big cards: Mickey Mantle, the rookie Reggie Jackson, the second-year Nolan Ryan, and Johnny Bench. Have those all graded. I feel like those are kind of the costly cards there. Then I decided in the past week, well, maybe this will be the set I work on when I'm just really an old guy, and it'll be easier to buy these cards because they're cheaper. Even buying a Hank Aaron or a Clemente or a Willie Mays, by 68 and 69, those cards are a lot easier and cheaper to find than stuff from the early 60s. So in this case, what I think I might do is I might save the 1969 Topps set, maybe wait 3-5 years and make that the set that I get to work on when I'm retired and no longer working full time, just to have something to do there at the end. I don't want to be retired and not being able to work on some type of set. So I think I'm going to save 1969 for a few years. So I thought that would be a lot of fun. Now, I also have been working on I've been working on 1961 Topps. Last week's video, I told you I was in a revenge mode, and I went out and bought a bunch of 1950 Bowman cards. I also bought a lot of 1961 Topps high numbers, and they're all in-house. So we're going to start showing them off. And here is Joe Gibbon from the Pittsburgh Pirates, card number 523. These high numbers are not cheap, you guys. I know there's a few of you out there building sets. These cards can be pricey. The next guy is card number 549, Hal Smith of the St. Louis Cardinals. When I say these cards aren't cheap, I try to find them for under $30. I have been somewhat lucky so far, as I am going to share with you now card number 535, Larry Jackson. Like I said, I try to find them for under $30. So far, I've been pretty lucky in finding them between $18 and $25. I would say these are probably excellent, the mint condition, but there are people out there who want near mint, and near mint for these high numbers can be pretty costly. As the next card I'm going to show you is card number 528, Pedro Ramos. See, like this one's off-centered, so I'd give that more of a VG to X. But I see people asking for near mint of cards that I still need, like Bob Cerv and Roland Sheldon of the New York Yankees. Those cards are running $80, $60, $80, $100 just for near mint. I'm just trying to find them excellent to mint. I have found a few for $40, but I'm always like, it just still doesn't work for me. Here's card number 544, George Thomas of the Detroit Tigers. The 61 high numbers, besides the All-Stars at the end, probably the only Hall of Famer is Hoyt Wilhelm, and there he is right there. on the Baltimore Orioles. That's a great pose. Love. He's getting ready to. He's showing off his knuckleball there, and I love the Orioles uniforms and their caps, and obviously that. I'm going to assume that's Yankee Stadium in the background because it seems like all the cards back there were of Yankee Stadium in the back. Hoyt Wilhelm is the one Hall of Famer that you've got, though you do have a lot of the Yankee cards and the Dodger cards are very expensive. Here's card number 553, Bill Fisher of the Detroit Tigers. And then I've got one more for you, and that is card number 530, Bobby Malkmus of the Philadelphia Phillies. So that, I think I just showed you 8. That leaves me needing 5 more cards. I need 5 more cards to finish 1961. Bob Cerv of the Yankees, Roland Sheldon of the Yankees, Jim Gentile of the Baltimore Orioles, and then I need the Pirates and the Twins team cards. And I'm finding out these 5 cards are not easy. I can find them, but they're not cheap. So I'm gonna one of my LCSs I'm gonna check out tomorrow in the South Bay. I want to see if I can find 1 or 2. If not, it's continuing the search on eBay. The last 2 cards I'm going to show to you, and it's like, why are you showing us a 1967 Gary Geiger and a 1967 Jim Owens? And it's just to finish my theme on the path. Just because one day when I was buying these 61 cards, I was working with Greg Morris, and I don't like buying just one card from Greg Morris because I don't want to pay the $5, $6 shipping for just one card. So I always try finding additional cards. Make my postage worth it, so to speak. And by the way, you can buy up to like 100 cards. I think it's up to 50 cards with Greg Morris, and it's still $5 in postage. So like I say, don't like buying one card, and I couldn't find any cards that I wanted. And I've always kind of had in the back of my mind that potentially one day, maybe I will build a 1967 top set. And the same way that I've done the 61s, I've told myself if I ever was going to build a 67 set, I'd have to buy a Tom Seaver card first, then a Rod Carew card, both high numbers, for those of you that don't know. And then I would start buying the highs. Well, I kind of changed the path a little and just said, well, I don't want to buy one card, and these 2 cards were readily available from Greg Morris. I won them at a good price. I think I won them for like $7 or $8 each. I got to save on postage. So that's why I wanted to show you these, because you never know where the path leads. Potentially my new path leads me to 1967. I just don't know. I'll have to figure that out once I finish the 1961 Topps high numbers and the 1950 Bowman, which I'm hoping happens the next month or 2. All right, you guys, if you stuck around this long, thank you so much for hanging out. As always, wonderful to talk to you. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.